Hi, my name is Sarah, and I'm one of the sales managers at Barefoot Books. I love books. I love the ideas they share. I love the worlds they create in our imaginations. And the story I chose to read to you today is The Book Tree, which shows exactly why we need books in our world. Let's get started. The Book Tree, written by Paul Sajak, illustrated by Rasheen Karia. Nestled in the branches of a tree, Arlo opened his book and breathed in. Beginnings were always the best part. They smelled as if anything were possible. Bonk. I'm sorry, Mayor. I got lost in my book and it slipped. Preposterous. Books are dangerous. I don't trust them. They act like seeds which grow into ideas, and ideas turn into questions. I will tell you what you need to know. First, the mayor gathered every book in the library, and then every book in the whole town. Then he tore them up until all that was left was a single page that floated away in a passing breeze. Arlo chased the page as it blew across town. It reminded him of a dandelion seed drifting on a wish. When it landed, the muddy earth swallowed it letter by letter until it too was gone. Arlo thought that perhaps the mayor was right. After all, he had been elected mayor. He must know something. But without books, Arlo noticed changes wherever he looked. At school, teachers had nothing to read, so story time became nap time. Without cookbooks, restaurants served only dry cereal. No one went to the theater, since actors had nothing to act out. And in the place Arlo loved most, all the shelves were empty. Arlo sat where the last page was buried. He missed the crack and creak of a book's spine the first time you open it. He longed for the smell and the crisp texture of a book's pages, but most of all, he missed getting lost in an epic adventure. Sadly, Arlo scratched 2 words into the dirt. Endings were the worst part of any book. But as he stared at the words, they grew into an idea. Arlo sat with pencil and paper and let his ideas flow. He read his stories out loud to anyone who passed by, but no one stopped to listen. Then Arlo heard something, a sound he thought he'd never hear again, that familiar crack and creak. When Arlo looked for the source of the sound, he saw a sprout springing from where the page had been buried. It began to open its leaves. It reached for Arlo's words, begging for more. With every story Arlo wrote and read aloud, the sprout grew. Arlo wrote a story about a giant, and the tree grew tall, stretching for the clouds. He wrote about a fire-breathing beast, and its branches became as strong as dragon's claws. He wrote about a magical swan made of paper, and blooms of tissue paper blossomed into books. When the books were ripe, Arlo climbed into the branches of the book tree and breathed deeply, enjoying the fruits of his harvest. While Arlo read, a friend stopped under the tree. "I'm bored. There's nothing to do." "You could try reading," Arlo said. Is that a book? Yep. Here, I love this story, Arlo said, giving her a hand up into the tree. The two shared the shady spot. Soon, flocks of readers roosted on the limbs. Books spread through the town like pollen in the wind. People grew hungry for reading again. Some wrote their own stories and became book gardeners themselves. Fiery maples blossomed with picture books, willows wept with poetry, and fruit trees filled with cookbooks flourished. As the trees grew, the town blossomed. The mayor, lost in his mayoral work, was oblivious to all the changes. That is, until a right book fell on his head. Bonk! Here we go again. The mayor kicked and stomped. Who planted these trees? You did, sir, Arlo said. When you tore up the books, it planted an idea. Impossible. This is the second time my head is hurting because of a book. The trees have to be cut down. But we've become a town of books and stories. You can't cut them down. The mayor walked the streets of the town. He gorged himself at one of the five-star restaurants, caught a show in the park, and lost himself in the story about a boy fishing for a whale in a puddle. Books did all of this? The mayor asked, astonished. No, Arlo said as he handed the mayor a freshly picked story. The book was just the seed. The end. I hope you liked listening to that story. If you want to find other stories like The Book Tree, please visit barefootbooks.com. Thanks for listening. Bye.